Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review for Ready to Love Last Resort. So it started out with Jay and Joy, lounging around, spending time together, and Jay said something about, do you like, what kind of peanut butter do you like? And so she was like, I love chocolate. And so he was like, oh, okay, you love chocolate, huh? I ain't never heard of peanut butter chocolate. Is there such thing as a chocolate peanut butter or peanut butter chocolate? And he had to think about it. He was like, oh, Nutella. Because she was like, yeah. And, that was obvious, that, she likes what she likes. So, anyway, and she was like, too bad you can't experience it because you're allergic to nuts. And she was being silly when she said that because he really does have a nut allergy. But yeah, y'all know she was being silly. So yeah, they had their moment, and you could tell that they are still vibing. The vibe is really, really strong, and she was in her confessional, just gushing over him. So I was like, okay, y'all. Then they showed Denise and Cal Funny talking, and she was like, well, I know how everything has been for us in the beginning of this process, and I know that you've been my number one, and excuse me, I finally ate, and it was a big meal. I hadn't eaten in like 24 hours, so y'all excuse me. That itis is kicking in, and it's been raining. But anyway, I apologize. But yeah, she was just like, kind of want to know where she stood, and he was like, well, you've been my number one this entire time, up until recently. And now Adriana has that number one spot. So she took it upon herself to ask him, well, do you think that she'd be willing to have your babies? And so he was like, yeah. Like, I kind of want to be like, girl, what's the point of you asking that? She already has said that she wants to have kids. Now, whether or not she really is here for him like that on a serious, I am here for love thing and not lusting after how he looks, that is yet to be seen. I don't know, because she has already said out of her whole mouth that she feel like she'd be lusted after him. Excuse me, y'all. So anyway, y'all. So all of a sudden the mood changes, and I'm like, what is going on? I completely forgot about the preview from last week. So I'm looking like, okay, what is going on? So they end up calling Jay to talk to him. And I'm like, wait a minute. When I saw him by himself, I kind of remembered. I was like, okay, wait a minute. So before they talked, Joy ended up finding out that her sister passed away. So Jay and Tommy were talking, and he wanted to know what was going on, how she doing, because of course, even though he's not in the house all day every day and all that stuff around him like that, he of course knows what has happened. And he was like, she had just talked to her sister like a couple of hours prior, and she seemed fine. Then all of a sudden she just passed away. So Joy is currently packing to leave and catch a flight, or however she gonna get to Chicago, because that's where her family is, or that's where her sister lived. um but yeah, you can tell that he is like struggling to grasp what's going on, because they are obviously in the middle of a process and they're getting to know one another, and they seem to be really close. And so it's like you feel helpless. She's obviously distraught. And it's like, well, what do I even do? So, he said that he's gonna try to support her, but he don't really know what to do, but he's still gonna try to support her. So they showed footage from where she had obviously taken off of her mic and all that stuff. It was just a random camera, and Jay and her were outside. She was about to leave, and or it was the foyer. I don't know where it was. It looked like it was like a really, really huge open space, but you could tell that she was very upset, and she was like, I don't think I can do this. Like, she is like, oh my gosh. I just cannot imagine that. Y'all, please, prayers for her. I know that this has happened quite some time ago, but that is still healing that needs to happen. So eventually, everyone is made aware of the situation, and there are a few people who knew, and you can tell. So some of the people didn't know, and he ended up calling an emergency meeting, Tommy being that person, and he told everyone what was going on. And a lot of the other people, they responded saying that they were okay, they were good or whatever, but they noticed that everybody was looking a certain type of way, but they didn't know what was going on. But yeah, I knew they was gonna pan in on Edwin. I was like, Lord, don't do it. Cause y'all know that was like his first choice. His only choice, actually. And so, oh my gosh, he did not take it well. Y'all already know he is not where he needs to be emotionally, mentally, or whatever. And he doesn't process things the way that he probably should. And so he needs someone to help support him when things like that happen until he can learn to do that on his own. So I don't even think he's processing this well. Y'all, they end up later on having all of the people, all the men and the women meet up with Tommy. And Tommy was like, I understand what has happened and we haven't really done anything. And I'm not going to assign y'all any tasks to do. Only thing I want y'all to do is just focus on yourselves today. And that's what everybody did. Everybody went to their respective corners and did whatever they was going to do. You could tell everybody was sad. Like, ooh, child, it's just a lot. I cannot imagine that. That is just so, so, so sad. I like how Tommy, when he was talking to Jay, he explained to him how he felt when his father passed away, because his father was like the most important person who has passed away in his life, and he's had to deal with that death. And a lot of people struggle with knowing what to do in situations like that, especially if you are close to someone. You don't want to, a lot of times you find yourself not knowing what to say in that moment. And that's how I felt. I asked y'all a while back how I can I guess communicate with one of my friends who lost someone who was near and dear to her. And it's like I want to say something, but I don't know what I could possibly say to comfort her, because I know I can't bring that person back. But yeah, y'all. But Tommy let it be known that sometimes the best thing that you can do is just be there. You don't have to say anything. And that is very true. For support, I know for me, when I'm going through stuff, I'd rather you just be there. You don't have to find any words to say to me. Just knowing that you're there, even if it's as small as you texting me saying, hey, you good? You good? How you doing today? Just checking in on me. Letting me know that you know I exist and you're acknowledging that in some way. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, okay, that was nice. They know I'm going through, but they, still took the time to check on me. So that's cool. I like stuff like that. And that is very much so appreciated. So y'all, Winter actually took it upon herself to go and find Edwin at one point in time and was like, I know how you felt about Joy, and I know how you can get, and I just want to make sure that you were okay. So he was like, I really do appreciate that. Thank you very much for that. And y'all know his history. And he had all of these detailed conversations with Joy, talking about therapy and all this other stuff. And just in that room when the news broke, you could just tell how hurt he was by this, because it was somebody that he really liked, and she going through this, and he don't know what to do. He can't do nothing to help her, and it's like, then she don't want him, so it's like a catch-22 of sorts. So yeah, they've already said that they could be friends. So I mean, y'all, Winter also went and talked to Jay. And Jay had on this had to have been like later in the day or the next day or something like that. Jay was outside sitting in front of like the ocean, the lake, whatever it is. I think it's the ocean. And he had on a full blown suit. And so she was like, oh, excuse me. She was just like, hey, how you doing? I see you got your suit on. You look nice and all that. And he was like, yeah, this is my happy place. This is what I do. And he was just like, I like this view, and I like wearing my suits and all that other stuff. This is me. And he was like, I mean, I feel like I cannot support Joy if I'm here. And eventually he ended up leaving because he felt like he needed to leave and go and support her. Well, Edwin ended up leaving because he felt as though he had not found love there and his path is leading him elsewhere. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And like everybody's just like taken aback because people are like just dropping out of the competition left and right. Unforeseen circumstances. And I mean, it is what it is. I'm glad that Jay decided to go and support her. I've noticed that he's not very big on showing emotions like that. And so for him to take that step and to really go and try to support her while she's going through this terrible time, it's amazing. Now, y'all, I'm not being facetious at all when I say this. This is something that has happened before on shows. Lord, I hope that when they have the reunion for this, that we don't see that he has left the competition and he was out here thotting and bopping or doing something crazy. I really hope that's not what's going to end up happening, because that has happened before. And I'm like, of all the things, while these people were going through these things, these are the things that these people have decided to do. I really hope that it ain't going to be the situation that we end up finding out that happened. All the while we thinking that he leaving and supporting. But y'all, it's just a lot. Y'all, so earlier in the episode, in between time, Calfani was talking. This was like the second part of the conversation where Calfani and Denise were talking. Denise threw out that she is falling for Anthony. She likes him, and that her and Calfani are gonna have to break up. And so he was looking like, okay. Then he was in his confessional like, I don't know what she talking about, break it up, because we ain't together, and that ain't do nothing but make my decision even easier because he's here for Adriana. Lord, she in her confessional talking about, well, I thought that he was gonna fight for me. Well, obviously I was wrong. Girl, you are number 2 now. Like, no. I mean, he could have, asked a couple of questions, but he was just like, oh, okay, cool. You don't want to be with me no more? All right. You don't want to pursue me no more? All right, cool. So that was interesting, to say the least. But yeah, y'all, this has been a really heavy episode. Of course, pretty much everybody did like a little confessional where they supported Joy, and they said that they're praying for her and her family, and like everybody did like a little snippet where they said something along those lines. So I thought that was awesome. Calfani and Anthony had a conversation. Calfani felt that it was important that he approached Anthony to see if he knew anything about what happened earlier, which is that Denise, broke up with him for Anthony, and that she thinks that she loves him and is falling in love with him and all of this. And Anthony is just looking like, broke up? How you break up with somebody? When was the relationship? What is going, like, everybody tied. So he's like, my number 1 is Winter. And, of course, I still got love for her, and I think she's beautiful, talented, intelligent, all these other things that he said or whatever, but she's everybody's number 2 now. Winter is his number one. So he ain't really trying to hear that what he got as far as what he got to say on that. Winter and Denise are talking, and she let Winter know that, you know, her and Cal Fani are no longer, and that she's strictly all about Anthony. And so she was like, well, you know, Anthony and I have been, you know, getting closer, so it is what it is. And while they were in the middle of talking, Cal Fani and Adriana came out of the house or wherever they came from, arm in arm, talking and going on somewhere. So that was interesting. And so, you know, Winter's kind of like, well, you know where I stand, and this is gonna be crazy. And it's funny because I told you I love Winter. Winter was just like, I don't really want to go there, but she said something about Denise's psyche, and she really feels like this is a strategy that she done pulled out, and it's more about strategy, talking about she loves Anthony more than, you know, her, instead of her actually, you know, really liking him like that because of what Cal Fani has been presenting to her. And I'm like, girl, I live for how you pay attention. She's paying attention. She's paying very close attention, and I'm here for that. But yeah, she ain't got a snowball's chance, and you know where. It's not gonna happen. She might be going home right now or whenever the next time they do an elimination, because I don't know if they're gonna still do one because so many people just went home. So Winter pulled Anthony aside because she wanted to know where his head was at. And he let her know, like, yeah, you're my number one. I'm here for you. Because she was like, you know, ultimately, I don't even see anybody else here. Like, I'm not even checking for nobody else. So I just want to know where I stand with you. And so he let it be known that he is really here for her. And they, you know, kissed. And I was like, okay, then. Ooh. It appears as if Adriana and Rashid went out on a date. And as every TV show for whatever reason is doing, they were playing Jenga or whatever it is, but they had like homemade questions, and he wanted to know who was her number one, and I think that's what it was. And I'm just like, y'all, my head, I just can't. I can't with the fakery. Like, you don't want you. I feel like she don't want that one of them, really. I feel like she just really likes the attention that she gets from Rashid and Cal Fani. But okay, yeah, she had to answer as to whether or not he was still her number one, because she picked Truth instead of Dare. And instead of just saying, nah, you ain't my number one, you ain't been my number one for quite some time, she said that it went from the, you know, attraction and vibes and stuff she had initially to who she sees a future with. And I'm just like, why can't all that still be the same? But okay then. Then he ended up pulling one, and he said, give someone a kiss. So they ended up kissing. That was the end of their date, at least from what we saw. So Denise up in that line to Anthony talking about he has been the A1 day one, and you know, he wanted to confirm what Cal Fani said and really hear from her mouth, and she was up here lying for no reason. I'm just like, why though? Why? Girl. And he was just like, it didn't even have to go this way. Like, I can't believe this. I can't believe I'm watching this unfold. She just lied for no reason, talking about has been her number one this whole time. You lie. So we are at the end of the show, and y'all, I'm so sorry. My head is busting wide open, and that's why I never turned my light on when my natural light went away, because I was just like, ooh, my head. Ooh, maybe if my head feel a little bit better, I'll turn it on. But, oh, my head is busting wide open, and I'm going to go ahead and lay it on down after this. But, yeah, we're at the end of the episode, and Anthony pulled Denise to the side because Tommy was like, you know, whatever entanglement situations everybody got going on, these triangles, you're going to have to go ahead and break them up, divide them up, because ultimately what's going to happen is whoever you chosen, they are the ones who you are going to have to introduce to your family. And I'm pretty sure that that is a very helpful deciding factor for you. If your family members that you are really, really close to ain't here for them, I'm pretty sure you ain't going to be here for them. Or you would feel some type of way about them not being here for them, especially if y'all are really close like that. So, yeah, that seems to be the general consensus. And yeah. So what happened was, after everybody went on about their business and they were like mingling, Anthony pulled Denise to the side and let her know that he was going full force into everything strictly with just Winter, and he doesn't want to string her along, and that he actually had a conversation with Calfani about what she said beforehand, and that he actually told him that, he ain't here for her. And she was like, oh, well, I would like to hear that from Calfani. And so she ended up asking him to send him over there to her. And ultimately he was like, you went through the motions and you said that, I was your number one. And then when I told you that you were no longer my number one and all of that, you kind of might as well had to say she went off the deep end and then talking about she loved Anthony and all this other stuff. And it is what it is. And so I'm just gonna let things be how they are. I'm gonna let it be. So she was like, okay, well, it's all right. And then she went on ahead and high stepped it on out the door. So next week seems like it's gonna be very interesting. Well, y'all, pray for me. My head is killing me, busting wide open, y'all. I am done. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this recap review. I'll be back another day. I'm about to lay it on down so I can get up early in the morning for work. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.